one of my favorite things is bringing people together. And if you talk to 10 people on the phone in a day, you can probably truly like help one or two of them. But when you can connect two things and it's
And
successful,
make it happen.
that's
It's a
really
good
the best
feeling.
thing.
Hello, my name is Michelle La Poetica Richardson, and I am here at PTV today interviewing a group of amazing people that just so happen to be running for office in this amazing city of Peabody. Today, one of the people that we have here with us is someone that's running for Ward 4 unopposed.
Yes.
And you are?
My name is Julie Daigle. Thank you very much, Michelle, for having me.
Thank you for being
I'm
here.
thrilled to be here unopposed. I hope that's complimentary to the work that I've done. I got elected I'm almost done with my first 2 years in office. And
Congratulations.
thank you. Yeah, it's exciting. It's flown by. I feel like I'm just starting to get my feet wet, so I'm excited moving forward. I know a lot of people have heard me talk about myself when I ran the first time. Just to let you know a little bit about me, and thank you, Peabody TV, Michelle, and the whole team for giving us this opportunity, because I know, some people know a lot about me and the other candidates, some people don't. So I
Right.
think this is a perfect venue to be able to talk a little freely and comfortably. I am a Peabody resident. I lifelong, just about, aside from college. I went to Peabody High, graduated in 2001. I know
I'm
Michelle's
class of 94.
Oh, I wasn't gonna ask you the year.
It's okay, I'm proud of it.
Me too. And then I moved on to Merrimack College, graduated in 2005 with an accounting degree.
Nice.
And during that time, I was lucky to intern through high school and college with Mayor Pete Terigian in the mayor's office. And with the accounting degree, I swore I was going to get a job. My dad worked at Hanscom Air Force Base when I graduated, and his friends were trying to recruit me to work there. And I thought that I would. I loved the idea. They had a physical fitness time. You could work out while you were on the clock. They had a signing bonus, but it turned out they hired a lot of people with more experience than me. So I ended up hanging around City Hall, which was probably meant to be. I started in the treasurer's office full-time as a senior clerk and took on some part-time jobs on the licensing board. And Mayor Bonfanti, we transitioned into him from Mayor Pete. He moved me over to community development, where I was the office manager. Then I became the secretary for the Community Development Authority, as well as the Board of Health, and loved working with that office of a great group of 20 or 30 people. And from there, Mayor Bonfanti retired. Mayor Betancourt came in and created a position of business liaison. So he hired me as the first one, which was fun and interesting. And as a new position, there were a lot of expectations, but I loved that job. It was great. I learned a lot. I felt like I brought a lot to the table, but it was very, very interesting. And then I had my son a few years into that job and had the opportunity to become the city treasurer, which, with the accounting background, was good.
That was a
But
good
yeah,
position.
it was good. It was a good opportunity. It's always it was. I did it like 3 months after I had my son, so it was a lot at once, and I learned a lot. I learned, I knew the numbers. I was always good at accounting, but then I also realized I missed working with like the people, the business community. So I left the city and went over to the Chamber of Commerce as the executive director for a couple of years. And that was interesting. COVID happened. That was even more interesting. And through that, I got another opportunity to manage the Mills 58 on Pulaski Street. So I've been doing that, and we have an exciting project downtown.
Say more.
You can see it from walking in. I could see the church that we're using for the parking lot in a couple of months. We're building a restaurant at the Bell Inn Tavern, a speakeasy, basement in the bar, a restaurant on the first floor, and then 8 hotel rooms and some outdoor dining. So it's part of doing all of that. And when I went over from the chamber to the Mills, I realized the challenges working from the business community. Even though I came from the city, I kind of had this unique perspective.
Right.
And thought, I see a lot of holes where there's like room for improvement to make things better for the business community, which I always supported, being the business liaison.
Right.
So that's kind of what inspired me to run from the, for originally 2 years. If you asked me 6 years ago, 10 years ago, would you ever run for office? I would say absolutely no. I like being behind the scenes. I like being involved in the community, but I'm not, political. I'm not into
And look
that.
at you now.
And then, yeah, everything I've done, I would just see like, okay, well, maybe I can make that a little bit better. And I love working with the community and with people. So,
I love the drive and the initiative. You're like a
it's
Swiss Army knife of a counselor.
yeah, I feel like I bring a unique perspective to the table with that. And I think that's the great thing about the council. Everyone has a little bit
Yeah.
of something different to offer. So, yeah, it was kind of scary, but it was exciting. And now, since then, I thought I knew a lot coming into it, and I knew, all the players, and I knew the city background and the departments. I didn't know a lot of the procedure of the city
Right.
council, and now, fortunately, my peers on the council have been very nice, and we do a good job working together and helping each other out, and I'm very grateful to them. So I learn a lot as I go, and think there's a lot left or a lot to do, but it's been a great opportunity, and it's like I never thought I'd leave City Hall, and then I found a way to get back in, and I love it. I love all the people there. It's just a nice place to be, and it's one of my favorite things is bringing people together. And if you talk to 10 people on the phone in a day, you can probably truly like help one or two of them. Some
Mm,
of them it's like, well, let me refer you to this, and no, I'm sorry, I don't have any, I can't help you with that. But when you can connect two things and it's
and make
successful,
it happen.
that's
It's a
really
good
the best
feeling.
thing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
So, Ward 4 right now,
mhm.
do you have any future prospects? Like, is this a staircase that we're climbing at some point? And I
um,
ask this because you have such a wealth of knowledge and experience, and you've basically played musical chairs around the city, and you have all these different pockets of information in you that you can apply to pretty much anything that you want here in the city. So, Ward
um,
4?
I can honestly say I don't know. People throw ideas and suggest things, but I like where I am now. I'm
That's a
still
beautiful
learning a
thing.
lot. I'm always open-minded. I'm still this is I just turned 40, and this is probably bad to admit that I'm still trying to figure out what I want to be when I grow up.
Honey, listen, that makes two of us, okay? I am dying to find a group of grown adults that is willing to sit on the floor in a circle and play duck duck goose.
Yeah,
I'm just letting you know.
yeah,
We can
it's
make an appointment after we finish this interview.
I w-
But if
I
we
can
can
help you
gather
with
the
that.
group,
Yes.
let's do it.
All right.
But I thank you so much for running, and I thank you so much for your passion for the city. Being a Peabody girl too, it's important that those of us that know the city are here for the city. So I love that. I love that.
And you've got the pride that I think we share. I don't know you
Absolutely.
very well, but
Yeah, we could
growing up
drop
in
names for days.
probably,
Yeah.
and not 2 years ago I had a fundraiser, and only the however many people in the room might have heard this story. When I was a kid, my dad, he would always drag me to events and, ribbon cuttings and the Pride and Peabody cleanup program,
Hmm.
and we would walk around and pick up trash at the Higgins in our neighborhood. And actually, Ward 4 counselor at the time, Bob Driscoll, didn't have a car that day, or there was something. He drove us in his van to the cookout that Mayor Pete had after. And then even one step past that, he would have a ceremony and give everyone that picked up trash a certificate. I I was so proud of a certificate for picking up trash,
Yeah.
but it gave me pride in the community that, like, you wanted to do
You did
more, and
something, yeah.
and that's what I want. My son, Desmond, is 6. He's autistic. I wanna instill the same pride in him, and I think, he likes, he's knocked on doors with me and put out signs, and he points out the trees that I've been with that we say, "Oh, that tree needs to come down and be replanted," and he's very proud, like, he kinda played a role in helping with that.
How old
So
is he?
he's 6.
That's such a
Yeah.
fun age.
Yeah, he's wild, and he's very sweet most of the time, but he loves coming to, all of the events, and meeting people, and He walks around the neighborhood
I love it.
and waves. So I think, but I think even having him and being a single mom with him, it brings a different perspective to the council and a different viewpoint than the typical
Absolutely.
people that we have, which it changes over time. But I think the diversity is good, just to have everyone with a different set of opinions.
I hear you speak of when your dad took you around, to different events and different things. You're doing the same with your little boy. So that's like a legacy, a
Yeah.
continuation. And I think it's a beautiful part of the city. You see a lot of that, in leadership and the elected officials that we have in office. I think that's a beautiful thing. And honestly, I think that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
Like, it's how can you represent something with love if you don't have genuine love for it? So the fact that you're here and that you're running and that you're running again and unopposed speaks volumes. So
Well,
thank
thank
you.
you. And I think volunteering and spending that time and getting your hands dirty is really,
Absolutely.
we rely on that in the city. And I'm involved with downtown and Peabody Main Streets, and I have been since I worked in community development as the business liaison. And we're trying to improve the downtown and trying to reactivate it. And there has been an active Main Streets group. We're trying to figure out moving forward, what is the identity of Peabody? And Salem's got the water and the history, and Beverly's got both. Salem and Beverly have colleges. Peabody, we don't have the water. We've got a little bit of history. A lot of people don't know about it, but I think so far the discussion, we've got some people talking about the future and branding Peabody, is that Peabody's known for being family friendly. And if you think about it, we've got Brooksby Farm, which is in Ward 4, which is great. I think Peabody is one of 2 cities in the state that actually own their own farms. Peabody, I would, off the top of my head, I'm not sure how many acres it is, Brooksby, but we also have Tilly's Farm, which is about 17 acres.
But I heard Tilly's farm is no longer of the Tilly family.
No, the city bought it. So, and Mayor Bonfanti spearheaded that with CPC funding.
Okay.
And I think the Spur family that owned it for a long time kept it for so many years, and now it's officially the city property. And there's a city-operated farm there. There's Brooksby Farm. We've got community events like the
Now we have the
International
Children's
Festival, the
Museum.
Children's Museum. So I see that as what our strength is in Peabody, which I think is something for us to be really proud of and to kind
Absolutely.
of work towards. And it might not mean a lot to people outside of Peabody, but my my heart is really with the people that live within the community. And we can work on tourists and some history, and we can certainly take advantage of that. And we've got the mall, the North Shore Mall is in Ward 4.
You have a lot. So break down Ward 4. Where does Ward 4, because I've never heard of wards as big as the wards in Peabody, and I'm from Peabody, but like I've been in other cities, and these are some really big wards.
Yeah, they're not based on size. It's really based on population. So back originally, I don't know what year, but if you took a map of Peabody, they've just, here's Ward 1 and Ward 2, and it kind of made logical sense of where they were. But every 10 years, the state comes in and has to redistrict to make sure if we have 50,000 people, that there's 5,000 in each of however the numbers work. So it's kind of morphed. A lot of Centennial Park used to be Ward 4. Now it's only a small portion. But we're kind of there's downtown Peabody, but central Peabody, we start kind of Ward 4 starts on Lowell Street, goes down towards Brooksby Farm. Some of that has changed. In fact, when people vote, they should check to see a lot of people that were in Ward 4 are now in Ward 5.
Oh, that's important.
Yeah.
So for those of you watching, before we wrap up with this amazing candidate, I want you to hear very carefully what she just said about the possible change in what ward you are in.
So I'll give an example. Ward 4 traditionally was the whole Brooksby Farm neighborhood. If you go down Felton Street, that left or right, but now things were redistricted. They were effective January 1, 2022. So if you haven't voted in the last election, you probably don't know this. But now if you drive down Felton Street, the left side is all Ward 5. Those people used to be Ward 4.
Gotcha.
So you used to probably go and vote at Higgins. Now you're going to go, I don't know if it's the high school.
It would be the high school. I think is the closest
So
one.
the city, there is a state website, maybe someone from your team can pull it up and put it on a video or
Okay.
link it somewhere. But the clerk's office is certainly good. If you call and give your
They'll let
address,
you
they
know.
can look it up and say and let you know where to vote.
Great. Find you. Where can we find you online?
Where
This is very, now that you said social media, I remember, you know what, she has a social media. So do you have a social media that you can share with us?
I do. I think it's Julie Daigle, Ward 4 City Councillor.
Okay.
I've got a personal page too, but I try to share Ward 4 relative information on it most just about Facebook. That's what I find most effective. All of the councilors' names, phone numbers, and emails are on the city website.
Phenomenal.
If people need to reach out to us, but that's the struggle is, and I think the mayor does a great job with his robocalls and trying to get information out to people. Not everyone is on the internet. Not everyone has a cell phone where that's mobile friendly, where they can access that stuff. So it's getting better, but it's trying to keep people informed. I walk in my
definitely a
neighborhood, but I
challenge.
can't walk in every neighborhood to let people know what's going on. But it is a challenge, and not everyone reads the newspaper anymore, and not everything is in
everybody
there.
gets the newspaper.
So yeah,
It's a different world.
it is a different world. We've got some projects up at the mall that are by right, meaning they don't need to come before the council, and a lot of the neighbors weren't notified because it's by right. So it's one thing I'm trying to do a better job at is informing those neighbors of what's going on, and where they can certainly send in their comments to me. They can send it into the planning board. It kind of depends on the project.
Okay.
But we want people to know what's going on and voice their opinions.
I appreciate you so much. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for being
I
here today.
appreciate you.
Thank you for being in office.